Action. Okay.
This is my dad. He is a 53-year-old surgeon who is adventurous, loves to see the world with his friends and family, has a passion for working out and yoga, is a stellar teacher, and even in his busy and hectic schedule, he still manages to find lots of time to devote to writing and posting on his blog. But beneath those few characteristics lies a man with a story.
So, Dr. Andrew Iraniha. I am 53 years old. I was born and raised in Tehran, Iran. Tehran is the capital of Iran. So, my childhood was a little tough. I born and raised in a middle-class family. And I remember I was 13 years old when revolution happened in Iran, and it changed everything in my life, in my family's life, and also in other people's life. And all I remember since the revolution was just a lot of trouble and hassle, pain and suffering. A few years after the revolution, we had a war with Iraq and affected us deeply. I remember I was in high school, so my high school years was very tough. A lot of uncertainty and fear about the future. But I figured that the only powerful element or gift that I had was being a hard worker, a person with an extremely extreme desire for getting out of that situation. And I had incredible work ethics. So I decided I gotta study and reading and being number one in my school was the only thing that I could see get me out of that trouble or that life. So I remember I was able to go to medical school. Medical school in Iran starts after the high school, so I was able to get into medical school in Tehran. So I was 19 years old when I started my medical school in Tehran University, and all I remember that I just studied hard, and the 7 years passed by, and I was able to be number one in my school, and I still didn't know what to do afterwards. Again, there was still a lot of uncertainty about future, and I wasn't very happy about that current condition at that moment. So just like a prisoner that stays in a very dark room, all of a sudden there was a crack in the wall and a shiny light comes into my life, and I was able to get a scholarship to go abroad and study for my residency and getting a specialty. So I was able to go to Canada, and I remember I was 28 years old and went to Toronto, and I spent 2 years there. During that 2 years, I passed all of my exams that required for getting my license in Canada and also US. I also participated in match to get into US residency system, and I got appointed for general surgery residency at Harvard UCLA. So I moved to United States in 1994, so exactly 24 years ago. And since then I had ups and downs. Overall, it was an incredible experience. You know, it was something new at that moment, and now when I look back, I think I made an incredible move by coming to United States and changed my life forever. I went to residency, and then since year 2000, when I graduated from general surgery residency, I have been practicing surgery for almost 18 years now. And I think I accomplished a lot. I've been able to have a great private practice, and also have the opportunity to teach anatomy in medical school at Riverside, and work with new medical students, and pass my knowledge and my experience to them, which make me extremely happy. I married in 1995 and have two kids. They're not kids anymore. The hardest thing probably in my life was separating from my family. I have two brothers and one sister, and a lot of nephews and nieces. My mom and my dad are all in Iran. So when I came here, I was by myself, and since then I have seen them maybe a few times. I have not been back to my country, and have not seen a lot of my family members, including my dad and a lot of my nephews and nieces and aunts and uncle, and that's the hardest thing, I guess, in my life. I think the move that I did to immigrate to United States was the best move I did for my life, changing my life forever for better. But I had to sacrifice not being able to see my family, and that's the hardest thing that I've done. And I think that's the only thing make me sad in my life. Other than that, I think I accomplished a lot in my new life, and I've been very blessed. And yeah, there's no question that there's a huge difference between my life and my kids' life. Obviously, the things that they have right now, and I was able to provide, I did not experience when I was a teenager and child, and I had to rely on myself and try to be independent and work hard, and I had no other options. There was no other opportunity. Here in the United States, we obviously have an incredible amount of opportunity. It's the beautiful land, and freedom, and being able to find a way to have a better life is just not comparable compared to my life. But when I started my family and had my son and daughter, I always thought the hardest thing would be to give them that inspiration to be hard worker, because obviously I wanted them to have the best life, and I try to provide them as much as I could, and I think they have a lot of things that a lot of people in this world they don't have, but I'm hoping that they could realize that and take advantage of those things that they have, and take advantage to be a better person. And what I try to do to inspire them, to show them myself, my life as a role model. Not that I'm a perfect person, no, just the fact that I came from somewhere that had no opportunity, with a very minimal amount of money and support. And I was able to get to this place with the hard work. I think that just shows the power of hard work and having the work ethics. and I don't think anything can replace that. You can be extremely gifted, and if you're not a hard worker, you lose a lot of opportunities. So being able to work hard and be persistent is the main element. But obviously I wanted to understand the value of being a good person and good human being, try to help other people, and just be a good citizen. I think it's a great lesson for them to be successful in the future. But of course it requires a lot of work and practice, because our generation is completely different with the new generation, just because the environment is very different too. The technology brought a lot of good things, but also created some distance between people and in society, and I think we have to realize that and try to solve that issue, and I think trying to be a good person and contribute to this life and other people is just getting harder and harder in this environment. So I'm just hoping that in the future my son and daughter both realize these values and make their life such that they can be a good person in the future.
This is my dad, and I am his daughter. Although the differences in our life experiences are immense and almost polar opposites, the similarities we share as father and daughter bridge the gap. And by hearing his story and learning about the difficulties he's faced, I am able to understand him more as a person. This is my dad, and that was his story.